there are benchmarks for worker satisfaction. There are, ways of measuring it, and then you can compare it to those measurements. But it is actually very, very difficult because when it comes to worker satisfaction, you do have an incentive to lie as a worker. If your manager comes and asks you straight out, "Are you satisfied with me?" You're not going to go no and walk off. It's a good incentive to lie that they kind of have your job in their hands and other things in their hands, I guess. So how do you measure it? You might have regular staff surveys where you rate your level of satisfaction yourself, and obviously put your name on it and all that. But you might have those staff surveys. You might, as a manager, have informal chats with workers to try and gauge how satisfied they are. Sometimes they'll go, okay, they'll do it every couple of months, or they'll do it once a year. They'll say, I'll bring the staff in one at a time and talk to the managers and oh, what are you doing, and how are you going, and how do you feel, and etc., etc. Or you might do it really, really informally, like in the lunchroom or whatever. You might also invite workers to give feedback. The classic example is using like a suggestion box for the managers, but that is probably not a good idea because of some of the things that workers will write and put in the suggestion box about where they can put the suggestion box. When it comes to comparison, 69% of Australian workers are either satisfied or very satisfied with their job. The world's best, the Dutch, they're 89%. So their work conditions must be fantastic. But 69% being satisfied or very satisfied means that 31% are possibly dissatisfied or neutral or very dissatisfied with their job. What does that have to do with human resources? Human resources should make sure that they're monitoring worker satisfaction surveys. It really doesn't matter what survey you use as long as you're using the same one, as long as you have that benchmark. If you use a survey and you get like 70%, you don't use a completely different survey and you get 90% because you've asked different questions of different workers. So really what you want is find like a baseline. Yeah, you can use the same survey again and again to try and find out whether it's increasing or decreasing rather than what the number is. Your survey might have a different number. Your survey might be 50%. Someone else's survey might be 90%, but they're the same employees and they're the same level of satisfaction. So it really matters which questions you're asking. You could also use exit surveys when staff separate from the business. It might be a lack of satisfaction that's causing them to leave, and really they're going to be honest at that time, or they're going to be pretty honest at that time, depending on whether they've got referees or whatever. They're going to be much more honest during an exit survey when they may already have another job somewhere than they will be when they know they have to go back to work the next day. You also should keep track of absences and look for patterns. Maybe, they're taking every second Monday off, or maybe every day after a public holiday they're having off or something like that, because it might indicate another reason for the absence, which goes back to absenteeism. And that has to do with worker satisfaction. It might have to do with disputation. So that actually is very, very important. What does it say about your business and the human resource strategies if workers are not satisfied? Well, it could be a range of things. It could be that the maintenance process is not being done well, so maybe the monetary rewards aren't sufficient, maybe the non-monetary rewards aren't sufficient. It could be a problem with job design, so maybe general tasks, specific tasks, maybe they're bored, maybe they're not challenged and they're doing too many general things. So you need to look at the job design as well. You would also need to look at the leadership style and the working conditions, because again, if you don't have a lot of control over your work, if you're not allowed to take time off when you need it, if you're treated badly, if your working conditions are bad, you're going to take more time off. You're not going to be satisfied, and when you are there, you're not going to work as hard. So that's the entire human rights, the entire human resources topic. In a nutshell. Hopefully you've learned something from it. And make sure you go to the main page and look at the dispute resolution process PDF and the Fair Work Australia PDF as well. So good luck.